welcome to a joint American in Crimea Moscow photographer stream with your two favorite idiots, Eddie and Kevin. Um, Guys, get an opener from my Soviet series because I was too busy to get a decent opener done for these streams. So, guys will
Well,
have to live with it. Yes, Eddie?
we off to a little bit of an idiot start. This is about par for the course, so no big deal. But thanks
Yeah.
everybody for joining us on this. What is this? Tuesday night? I was calling today Monday. I thought it was Monday because it felt like a Monday. It's
Yeah,
actually
it,
Tuesday.
it felt like Monday all day. Hey, Jill, how you doing? Hey, everybody over on my YouTube channel. I don't know if Eddie's watching his chat over there.
I am on
So,
YouTube, but I am not watching the chat. I apologize. Edelwolf, how you doing? Jill, welcome.
hello, hey.
As you guys are watching us, do us a favor and drop a shout out in the live chat so we can recognize you, say hello, and yeah, let's talk.
Especially if you're on X, because we get thrilled to get comments out of X. I think we've each gotten one.
I've gotten one so far.
Yeah, and I got one out of Rumble. So, Daryl, hey.
Hey, Daryl.
So Eddie and I talked today. As you all know, we were going to do a stream on the President of Peace, but decided people coming to Russia. Alan, hey, there's our X comment.
From X. Thank you.
Yeah. So we decided with the holiday season starting and everybody heading to Russia, Moscow, Crimea, other parts of Russia, it was an opportune time to talk about scams and figuring out businesses that are taking your money from you that are not legal in the country. So, I don't know. Where do you want to start with this one, Eddie?
Well, so scams are nothing new at all. They're not new to any of us who are from America. We've had plenty of scams there as well. There are scams here in Russia as well. So,
Yeah.
in fact, many of the most recent laws that affect foreigners, for instance, the purchasing of a SIM card, such a simple procedure anywhere. You used to just be able to walk into a store and say, "Hey, I need a SIM card." They'd say, how many minutes do you want? How many gigabytes of data do you want? And here it is. Here's the cost, and it would be dirt cheap: 800 rubles, 700 rubles. I mean, $6, $7. Very, very inexpensive.
Yeah, for
But
a couple of
with
years now, they've required a passport to get one as well.
So you'll need, yeah, which a foreigner would have. A foreigner would have a passport. You would have your registration from wherever you are domiciled here on your visit. So either in a hotel or private residence or an apartment that you're renting. So those are the two documents that you used to need: passport and your registration.
Administration. Yep.
But because of a lot of scams that were originating either from within Russia or even from without Russia, from out of Russia,
Yeah.
that were scamming Russian citizens as a way to steal their money, to fund illegal activities, shall we say, in 404 in Ukraine.
Yep.
So, because of that, the Russian government has saw fit. They realized that cell phones and these SIM cards, because people would just walk in and just buy 10, 20, 30, 50 SIM cards at a time,
100, yeah.
hundreds. And so this was a very, very big problem. So because of that, they have changed the rules. It's actually very thick now. It's not a simple process anymore. And if you're just coming to Russia to visit for 7, 10, even 14 days, you could be here during that whole time and not be able to purchase a SIM card.
And
Now,
just so
go
people
ahead.
know, the problem is that somebody here would buy a pile of SIM cards, and then they would either call from within Russia or go back to 404 and call, and they would tell people that they were military officers and their relatives had been killed at the front line. They would ask for money to transfer the bodies back to Russia. Just a variety of schemes calling from Russian phone numbers, but the transfers were made to either not legal Russian bank accounts or bank cards or to foreign accounts.
Okay. Edelwolf poses a very good question, and we're going to answer that question.
Want to answer it now, or you want to
We
answer
can we can
questions
we can
later?
answer it now. So, just
Here's the new
today,
law.
some laws were issued today. Putin signed into law on combating telephone and internet fraud, which speaks exactly and right down to your question. So, you have heard that a guide can buy one for you. All right. If that guide is a relative of yours and a Russian citizen, then according to the new law, they can purchase one for you. If that person is not related to you, it is illegal.
Yeah, now let's clarify that's a close relative.
Close
And a
relative.
close relative in Russia is a mother, father, child, or grandparent. It does not even include, it can be a wife buying it for her husband, a husband buying it for her wife. But for example, my wife cannot buy one for one of my kids from my first marriage, even though they're her stepkids, because it doesn't fall under close relative in Russia.
That's right. That's right. So this further complicates the process where maybe somebody could set up shop here in Russia as a Russian citizen and says, hey, no problem, I can buy 10 of these at once. So they buy 10, they register them to their name. As you come into the country, you pay them whatever money they want, and they hand you a SIM card. That is now an illegal activity
Yep.
as of today, because
As
this
of
is
today.
we just read this today.
Yeah. This has been in the pipeline for a week. The Duma actually proposed this a week ago. So we knew this was coming down. It was just a matter of when Putin signed it.
Right. So this complicates matters. So here's a story. In fact, I have a family that recently moved from Texas, the great state of Texas. They moved to Moscow region, and they have bought property and they built a home in the American Villages project. They've moved into their home. They're getting set up. They arrived, I want to say March 3rd. Don't quote me on it, but early March. And I have been wanting to get the head of the family onto a live stream with Kevin and myself, and also with Tim Kirby to discuss this, because for many reasons, and we'll get that scheduled. But he's had trouble getting internet into his home. So I just want to relay, because I spoke to him today. This is now the first, well, what are we? April 2nd. So almost 30 days after they arrived here in Russia,
April 1st.
I'm sorry. Oh, it's April 1st. I keep thinking this is, see, I don't even know what day it is. Anyway, it's almost 30 days to the day that they arrived in Russia. They just received registration yesterday. They went to the multifunctional center to register to get their SNILs. SNILs is equivalent to like maybe a social security number in the States.
Yeah. Hmm.
So they requested their SNILs number. Well, it's not something that is an immediate turnaround. They were told to return on April 7th to receive their SNILs. Once you have SNILs, now you can go to a bank and give your biometrics and your a sample of your voice and your biometrics. And then you also have to register on Gusaslugi, which is a government app.
Gusaslugi has to verify that your SNILs and your name on your SNILs matches the name on your passport exactly.
And there cannot be any deviation from that. It's got to be exactly the same. Dot to a if an I's dotted, it's dotted. T's are crossed, they're crossed.
And what
Once
what a lot of foreigners run into is their middle name gets hyphenated with their first name or put in with their first name without a hyphen, and SNILs will put that middle name in as a patronymic name, and then it won't
that's
verify.
yeah, that is a big problem because I have a middle name. I'm Charles Edward, and I go by Eddie Edward. But when I fill in most forms here in Russia, it's first name only because my middle name will be considered patronymic, and it isn't. So it is it is a problem. You've really got to watch your P's and Q's when you're dealing with this bureaucracy. But to make a long story short, 30 days later, barely has registration, still doesn't have a Russian cell number, therefore doesn't have a bank account yet. And this guy lives here. Okay, he's applying for temporary residency. So
So now, yes, there is a second family in the village, and in fact, she is in the audience right now with us, and they just moved in. They got their SIM cards about 2 weeks after they got here, but her husband dogged it big time to get it. That's his personality. So they got theirs relatively quickly.
yeah, and it all is going to depend on one, how fast you're motivated to get it, and there are other ways that you can kind of speed things up a little bit, but it's going to take time. And if people are making promises that it's easy, that it can get done quickly, you really have to take that with a grain of salt. Because I'll give you an example. I applied for individual entrepreneurship here in Russia, which allows me to operate a business or to be legally employed as a resident. So as a foreigner, we had to go to this special tax office to fill in the paperwork on regular paper. I had personal concierge service. Okay, my wife went with me, and my wife filled in the form for me. Well, when it came to the address section, she spelled out the word ulitsa, which means street. We submitted the paperwork, and even the person who was checking our documents, it got past them. So I had to wait a week to receive an email that says, oh, by the way, your documents have been rejected because there was a mistake. You spelled out the word street and it should have been abbreviated. So we actually had to go back to the office in person again, fill in the form once again, and resubmit.
And
This is
another one is
normal life.
yeah, yeah. Another one on the address is the city you live in and the oblast you live in. Those living in Moscow live in the city of Moscow, so Gorod Moscow. And also they live in Gorod Moskva, which is the oblast. So you will see the zip code, you will see G period Moscow, comma, G period Moscow.
Yep, absolutely. And you have to, that's happened to me once. I can't remember on which document it was. It wasn't Snill's. I believe it was my ENN. When they produced it, it had an address of Moscow region, and it's wrong because I don't live in Moscow region. I live in the city of Moscow. So when we went back, the clerk who was helping us was actually on the computer typing in the correct address, which is Moscow, the city of Moscow. But when it would print out, it was printing out Moscow region. Have no idea. It was a glitch, but we had to fix it.
Yeah, it's because they had to put it in twice because you live in the city of Moscow in the Moscow region.
In Moscow region. Right.
So yes, Wolf, it is technically a zip code, Gorod Moskva, street address, house number, apartment number, or building number. Okay,
Jill,
yeah,
I assume.
2 weeks. I thought it was 2 weeks, but
Jill, I assume you're talking about your SIM card?
yeah.
3 weeks. Yeah, so if you're coming to visit for, 10, 12 days, you need to consider having a service, cell phone service from where you're originating from that has roaming capability in Russia, at least for that
For a month
amount of
anyway.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of them have it. They can be expensive. Some of them are cheaper. We can consult with you on that deal. We know the ins and outs there. None of them will work in Crimea if you come here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No international roaming, huh?
No international roaming from any Western guys.
All right, so Jill's confirming 3 weeks to get the SIM card and bank accounts. So,
Yeah.
is it necessary for you to have a bank account when you come to visit in Russia? Absolutely not. But it will make your life considerably easier, especially when you're navigating around doing shopping, eating, traveling, whatever. It'll just make your life easier.
Yeah. So Christopher says that, he spent a week fixing an MFC screw up. And I know somebody else who had to delete their Gusaslubi account and start over as well.
These
He
are
had
go ahead.
everything. He had everything verified, but he wasn't in the banking system properly, so he couldn't do his biometrics.
Yeah, and these are all unforeseen events. You cannot predict if and when something like this will happen because I've had it. You deal with the government 2 or 3 times in a row and everything goes by smoothly.
Gusaslugi stands for State Services. So this is the application that citizens use to vote in. It is tied into your medical records. If you make an appointment at a state hospital, you will get a notice from Gusaslugi. It holds a copy of your passport, your INN, your SNILs. If you own a car, your car registration, your title, your insurance, everything is in that app.
It's like a one-stop shop.
Yep. And it's quite secure.
So Alan brings up a very good question. Said installing the bank app like Spare is also a bit time consuming as we need to go to the branch to set it up. Yes, you do, because due to sanctions in some of these banks, a lot of these apps were deplatformed from Apple Store, from Google Play Store. So you actually have to go and you'll log out of your Apple ID or your Google Play and have to log in to the local computer that they have, and then they'll download the app and then reactivate you. It's a pain. It's a pain,
Yeah.
but it happens.
Now on Android, it's much easier because all of the bank apps show up in the Roo store, which is
We do
a
have Roo Store.
side-loading app store for Russia on Android only. So yes, Edelwolf, it's not manipulable in Russia. I had to test this out. I voted online in the last presidential election here, and I decided to test it out. I tried to log in a second time, and it said, sorry, you already voted, Jack. I could cancel my vote and resubmit it for another candidate if I wanted to. But the local polling place also immediately gets notified that you voted. So you can't go and vote there either because they're tied into the computer systems as well. So
Interesting to know.
yeah. So one of the things I saw in one of the expat forums, I think it was just yesterday, somebody was saying, well, go on Avito and buy a SIM card there. Number one, if you can find a SIM card on Avito, it won't be legal, and if you get caught using it, you could be sanctioned anywhere from a monetary penalty, an administrative fine. You can have your visa canceled. You can be deported from the country, not being able to come back in for 5 years. If you have taken citizenship, as a foreigner have taken Russian citizenship, they can actually revoke your citizenship. So you need to be aware of that. Now, when this guy was arguing that you could do this, I said, nah, I don't believe so. It's not legal anyway. I went to Avito and I typed in SIM card, and the only SIM cards that came up were Kazakhstan SIM cards, which do have a +7 phone number. However, you will be roaming when you're in Russia, and you will not be able to use it to open your bank account or purchase a SIM card.
Just be aware. It's good information.
Yep. So Christopher is saying it's not secure if you use phone SMS verifications. You cannot do SMS verification of Gasa Slugi. You may be able to when you set it up, but then you are required to use two-factor authentication to get into it after that. So yes, Google Authenticator works. So they've eliminated the SMS verification of it. And of course, part of the reasons they used to allow SMS verification is because that SMS was going to a phone in your name tied to your passport. In theory. Now it's guaranteed that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ed, go ahead.
Unless you had a subject, I was going to say, one of the things people are wondering about with scams is even, let's say, other expats who are offering services out there who may not be legal to do business in Russia. What does it take for you as a resident to do business in Russia?
Okay, so as a foreigner, if you are in the country on any kind of visa except maybe a business visa, and we're not even going to discuss that because the most common foreigner in Russia who's here to visit is probably here on a tourist visa. If you're here on a tourist visa, you cannot earn money legally in Russia. Period. So if you want to work, you would have to have a special kind of visa that would allow you to come into the country and work. You would also be sponsored by your employer, who will have to verify that information and will assist you in getting that type of visa. So if you're
And
here
it has
on a, go ahead.
and it has to be a company that is approved by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Correct. There is a certain list of companies, and of course, and some of these obviously are, how would we say, highly qualified specialists as well. So, Edelwolf, I'm stand by. I'm going to answer this question here in a minute. But in order to work here legally, under the current law of the Russian Federation, you must have either been issued a temporary residency permit, a permanent residency permit, or citizenship. And of course, I believe if you had a business visa, that's going to be something different, but the business visa also qualifies you for residency, so therefore that falls under the same
No,
situation.
a work visa does. A business visa, and a lot of people make this confusion. A business visa allows you to come to Russia to attend conferences, but not to earn
Ah,
money.
you're absolutely right. Thank you
Many
for that
people apply
distinction.
for a business visa thinking they can come here and start a business, and it
Right.
doesn't work.
It's a work visa. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Thank you for that. So, I just recently was awarded a individual, rather a temporary residency in August of last year. So as of August of last year, I could legally work and earn money here in Russia. I've recently been designated as, for tax purposes, tax status, individual entrepreneurship. This is a simplified way to report the earnings that I make and pay taxes to the Russian Federation using a simplified tax, what is it called? Like a simplified tax scheme for businesses. So that's where I fall under that. Is there anything else you
Yeah.
want to add on that?
Well, basically, you have, again, a phone app, and you can earn up to 2.4 million rubles. You enter in every transaction that you make when you're earning money, and it keeps track of that. And at the end of the month, they say this is what you owe in taxes, and you pop your card information into it. It takes your taxes from you, and away you go.
Right.
So,
So to
what?
answer, I'm going to put Edelwolf's question here. Go
So
ahead.
before you do that, I'm going to
Go
play
ahead.
off of that last one again yet.
Go
So
ahead.
if you've got people even saying, I give, I am living in Russia on a tourist visa, and I know several people who have stated this publicly. I'm living in Russia and I'm going to go teach some students because I'm teaching them English. So, well, do you earn money doing that? Yes. If somebody is on a tourist visa and they're giving English lessons, even for 100 rubles, they have broken the law. They are subject to being expelled from the country. So, anybody you come across that doesn't have temporary residency, permanent residency, or citizenship that is asking for money for anything, they're doing it illegally.
Yeah. And therefore, you are an accomplice to that. So
That means you're both in trouble.
buyer beware. So Edelwolf wants to ask, does that include my photography or YouTube? Yes and no. So any type of video production or photography where I earn money here in Russia, absolutely, that falls under employment. My YouTube channel is actually based in America. It's based in the States because that's where I started it. That's where my Google AdSense is. Every dollar, and there aren't many, by the way, but every dollar that I earn from Google AdSense is not paid in rubles. It's not paid to a Russian bank account. It's paid to a bank account in the States. So it is separate.
However, as of September last summer, the United States canceled the double taxation agreement with Russia. So in September, Russia did it as well. So technically, Eddie and I have to pay Russian taxes on our YouTube earnings as well.
That's fine. I was already
Yeah,
already a resident. Yeah.
Yeah, even the United States is collecting more tax on that than Russia is.
Yeah, a lot more.
With the number of donations Eddie and I get, the extra 2 or 3 rubles a year we have to pay on that isn't a lot.
Yeah.
So Rosie, yes, that includes donations as well. If you are giving donations to a YouTuber, and they're living in Russia, technically they are supposed to pay taxes on it in Russia, which means they're violating Russian law as of last September. We're okay because we're legal.
We had residency, and of course he has citizenship. So, and then Christopher says, working on a tourist visa puts the same target on your back from the illegals from the stands have on their backs. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And people should know that Russia writes their laws vaguely for a reason. They have laws right now where they say a foreigner and their family can be expelled if that foreigner commits a crime or one of their children, minor children, commits a crime or causes trouble in a school. Now, everyone goes around saying, well, that's meant to be for the people from the stands. But the way it's written is it says foreigners, which means they can apply it to anybody they choose to. Your children cause enough trouble, they'll put you out based on this law. If you cause enough trouble or break enough laws, they will put you out on it as well.
And not to get geopolitical or anything, but kind of sounds like the Trump administration wanted to implement something like that in America. How would you feel as an American? How would you feel if the immigration law was that stringent in America as it is here? And here's the thing, it's not hard to be legal. I mean, if you're a foreigner, it's not hard to follow the rules. It is bureaucratic. It is thick. It is long processes in long waits in lines, but it's totally doable. Totally doable.
Yeah, and the taxes are trivial here. I don't know. I think Moscow is the same as it was 6% you pay on individual entrepreneur?
6% up to, what is it, 2.5 million?
2.4 million, yeah.
13 above.
And in Crimea, it's 4% up to 2.4 because we have special status that will go away after this year. Anything over that, you're paying a corporate tax, which can be 40% of what comes in.
Yeah, I agree,
Absolutely, Edelwolf.
Just respect your visit, the home you're in. Yeah.
Yeah, we hear a lot of Western countries jumping up and down about this guy was arrested and he didn't do anything. That guy was arrested and he didn't do anything. But in fact, it's real easy to break the law here. It's real easy to break the law anywhere, but Russia is a nation of laws, and they do hold people to them, particularly people from what is termed unfriendly nations.
Yeah, Alan. So Russia has a simplified pathway for families from Western countries, or should we say unfriendly Western countries, to move to Russia if they share the same values that Russia stands for. So,
Yep.
very much so.
So before I bring my hot topic up, you got anything else you want to add to scams and
No, I'm good with that. I think we covered it. Just buyer beware.
okay, so another buyer beware. If you have somebody offering to transfer money for you, no matter how much they say they're charging you, you have to be extremely careful that you're not dealing with a scammer or somebody who is doing it illegally, which puts them at risk, it puts you at risk, and it puts your money at risk. If they're not asking you when they're going to transfer money for you for a copy of your passport, your visa, your bank account information, and to sign a contract to move that money, they are doing it illegally in Russia. And again, I know of a couple of people who are doing this. If you are doing cryptocurrency by yourself, you can do that in Russia if you know how to deal with cryptocurrency. However, I'm going to give you some warnings about both banks and the crypto exchanges. If you go to bestchange.ru and you grab somebody off the list to say, I'm going to send my crypto to them and change it to rubles, you stand, first off, they're illegal exchanges. They do not have physical locations in Russia, which makes them illegal. And you stand the chance of receiving money from somebody from country 404 or somebody who is on the Russian banking list of undesirable clients. This is something that is relatively new. The central bank has had it for a while. But this is a list of people who are not allowed to bank at Russian banks. And if you receive money from one of these people, you very likely will get a knock on your door from the authorities, and they will have in their hand your complete set of banking statements from each and every bank in Russia that you deal with, and they will ask you to go through line by line every transaction of money you got in and that you sent out, even if it's buying fish from the local fishmonger. They will ask you to justify it. They will ask you to see the person's passport, their visa, how you know them. And believe me, you will go through this. I've gone through it twice now. And I've gotten money through my exchange, which is a legal exchange, from two people on this list. And believe me, it's rough having to explain these transactions when you're going back 6 months. You received this money from this guy. What did you do with it? Try to remember what you did with 50,000 rubles you got in 6 months ago. It's not that easy. Now, banks have been tightening the laws to crack down on fraud again. This has been pushed by the government. I had a guy yesterday who wanted to transfer $200, didn't want to follow the rules, and argued with me that I was wrong. Understand that it used to be you could do up to a 400,000 ruble transfer from somebody or to somebody without the bank questioning you. About a year ago, they changed that to 100,000 rubles. Despite what you may read on the internet, it was 100,000 rubles from last summer up until recently. You receive more than 100,000 rubles, it gets flagged at the bank. They may not block the transaction. You get a couple of them and they may start questioning it. It does get you added to a potential fraud or money laundering list. And you will find out that you now have trouble opening bank accounts at other banks.
I got blocked by Sberbank.
Yep.
Okay. Tell you what I did. I made a crypto transfer from an exchange in the US of which I am a member direct to me. Went into my bank account and then I transferred some money, as we all do. You know, you want to move it around, put it in a different account. So I moved not a lot of money. I'm going to tell you how much it was, about $400 from Alpha Bank account, my bank account, to my Sberbank account. Got blocked by Sberbank. Had to go in person to the bank to explain what I did. And I said, well, I transferred money from my Alpha Bank account to my Sberbank account. And they said, well, it says here that this is possible fraud. How is it possible fraud? It's my freaking money. So they blocked it and they closed my account. I couldn't open another account either. They wouldn't allow it. So I don't know what happened with that, but something triggered something somewhere and I got blocked. So and that was a legitimate transfer. So
Yeah. So I know exactly what happened there because, like I say, I've been through this twice with them already. I had one bank, Tinkoff, report me because I received my own money from the United States by way of crypto into my account, and then I transferred it to my Sberbank account. And they raised the flag with the central bank and said it was a fraudulent transaction. I got my account unblocked after about 15 days. They're supposed to do it within 7 or 10 days, but it took me a little longer. However, when they showed up at my door to audit my transactions, they had my Tinkoff account information for the past 2 years. They had my Sberbank account information. They had my RNKB, my VTB, and my Alpha Bank stuff all together. They're all tied together at the central bank. And when they raise a flag on one, they start watching all of your accounts. So if you receive money in an account, transfer it to another one, they start tying these things together and say, and you transfer enough money. And the new thing is if let's use an example. If I send Eddie 10,000 rubles right now, and an hour later I send him another 10,000 rubles, that puts you on the list to be reviewed at the bank. If the bank decides it's fraudulent, they report it to the central bank, and you go into a database, and all of the banks have access to that database. I'm in that database. I know that for a fact. I've been told by the local authorities. Fortunately, I know them. I've had the explanations. I had all the paperwork and documentation, but they watch every transaction I do at this point. They wanted to know for my own funds that I hold at Sberbank what I need that money for. And it's like, well, it's my money from the United States. I brought it here, I put it in the bank, and it's for if I need it in the future. I want to build something, I want to buy something, but you'll find yourself having to explain these things. So if you're dealing with a tourist living in Russia claiming that they can legally transfer money for you, that's bullshit. They can't. It's illegal for them. It will get them eventually caught and thrown out of the country. It can very well get your money blocked in their bank account. I know somebody who had received a crypto transfer, and one of the people from the crypto exchange off of bestchange.ru actually reported it as a fraudulent transaction. The way these things work is these people who are making the payments, you get the multiple card payments onto your card. They are people who are hired by the exchange. They're contractors. The exchange sends money to their bank account. They then send it to your bank account. So the exchange sent it to this woman sent it to these people. Then this woman went into her bank and said, they stole that money out of my account. I never authorized that. It was fraudulent. And the new Russian fraud rules say that the bank has to give you money back if you claim it was fraud. So the people who actually sent the money lost their money. And we were talking about 300,000 rubles.
Well, this is kind of what Christopher is talking about. He's actually talking about peer-to-peer crypto transactions. So for those of you in YouTube land and you're thinking about, well, maybe I can do crypto transfer. If you do not understand the lingo of what a P2P crypto transaction is, you probably shouldn't be messing around with crypto.
Yeah. So, Catherine, a maximum amount that you can transfer depends on the bank. I transfer considerable sums of money all the time with Sberbank. It's why I deal with them. They know what I'm doing. They see contracts. They see the passports of the people. They do not limit me. I've done 20, 30 million ruble transfers for people. However, Tinkoff will block you at 100,000. So, there's a lot of things in the security protocol from the central bank that they follow. And like I say, I get away with it because I've been audited. I've had my accounts locked. I've shown that I'm trustworthy and can do it. Reality is before you start being looked at for potential fraud or potential you're being scammed, even the banks are often looking to see if you're being scammed. You receive money from somebody, you send a transaction out right away without having used your card to buy anything in the meantime. They view that as you potentially being scammed. And
that's exactly what happened.
And
Hey, man.
So, and that can occur, if you get 50,000 rubles, $500, and then you send somebody $200.
That's exactly what happened to me, because when I transferred the crypto after I converted it, I got a better rate going to Alpha Bank than Sberbank, but Spare was actually where I wanted to put the money. So I received it in Alpha Bank, and as soon as it hit, I immediately moved a portion of it to Sberbank, and that set off a chain reaction. It would have been easier and probably less suspicious had I gone to an ATM, withdrawn cash, then gone to another bank account or another bank and made that deposit. Who knows?
Yeah. In fact, when I'm dealing with large amounts of money, we're typically dealing with cash because the bank doesn't question it as much. And I kind of say it that way because they will still look at it. You will still end up in the database. And the guys who knock on your door, when I say the local authorities, I am not talking about the local police department. Uh, these are federal investigators that show up at your door. And if you are not used to them showing up at your door for other reasons, other legal reasons, then it can be unnerving. Uh, you know, God forbid they're showing up at your door for other reasons that aren't legal, and then they show up at your door. I got that scam business from American banks, including the one you, Kevin, deal with in the U.S. Absolutely. Uh, Jill ran into that. She banked in the U.S. at the same bank I bank at, and they flagged her for a scam transfer and had her money blocked. I don't know if you ever got it back, Jill.
That's what she's confirming now.
Yep. This is a new one as well. I was just doing a transfer for somebody that's a friend of Eddie and I both, for his mother. And she came here not too long ago. Well, she came here a while ago, but she had permanent residency, and she recently got citizenship. Between the time she sent the money and I went to deposit it in the bank, she got her citizenship. Well, guess what? The bank had blocked her account because she had been a permanent resident, and that has a different number on it. It's a foreigner account rather than a citizen's account. So it gets your bank account blocked. I've had people say, gee, why you can't put money in my account? I opened it while I was in Russia. Well, you left the country. Some banks, like RNKB, VTB, the date that is on your migration card that says you're leaving the country, that's the date they will block your account for your security. Nobody can put money in, nobody can take money out till you come back with a new migration card. Some banks, like Alpha Bank, will put the date that your passport expires, and it's good until your passport expires.
Yeah, lots of little nuances to watch.
And
But
if
we,
you're not in it on a daily basis and somebody is dealing with your money for you, expect you're being scammed or you're dealing with an idiot. And you could lose your money. And I don't do that to drum up business. There's lots of places you can go to transfer your money. It doesn't have to be me, but the reason I charge the fee I do is because I stay up on all of this.
yeah, no, absolutely right. And that's the other reason is that we both encourage people from the West to visit Russia, whether it's out of curiosity, whether it's out of a sense of adventure, or hey, what have they been hiding from me? Because we know that they aren't telling you the truth about Russia. So I wholeheartedly support people coming to Russia to visit, to tour the country, to enjoy this beautiful landscape, the culture, the people, the cuisine, everything. But we want you to enjoy it. Can I be cliche here? Worry free. Yeah. So that's the whole purpose of worryfreerussia.com, is for you to come visit Russia and not worry about these trivial little matters, because Eddie's got your back. And that's one of the reasons that Kevin and I are discussing this tonight, is to help instill some confidence in you that we're here, we see it, we stay up on the latest rules, the latest laws, and plus we've experienced all of this ourselves to make your life and your visit easier. So that's my little sales pitch. How's that?
Yeah, so Edelwolf, Eddie does not do money transfers, just like I don't do concierge. If I know somebody coming to Moscow, I send them to Eddie. Eddie charges a hair more than some people may charge you, but you know you're getting white glove service. If it takes Eddie 6 months to get you that snills and that SIM card, he will be there for you for the entire period of time. It never takes that long.
It
But
never takes that long. But here's the deal. That's the promise that I make. If you wanted personal concierge service, and obviously we spell it out in a proposal, you accept the proposal, we sign the contract. I have to fulfill the terms of the contract. Now, like this family that I'm telling you that showed up in early March, and they still don't have SIM card, they still don't have bank account. And if that were my client and still on a contract, guess what? I'm still working, okay,
yep.
until that happens. So that is commitment to you because I really want people to come to Russia and really just enjoy themselves here and not worry about that. Let me and Kevin, we'll handle the heavy lifting for you.
And again, Eddie's doing it with a contract like I do. So you sign that contract, you know you can hold him responsible if he doesn't deliver. And if you've got somebody in a chat somewhere saying, gee, I can do that for you if you come to Moscow, you're getting somebody who doesn't do it for a living, doesn't have the experience with it all, and you may find yourself not getting everything you paid for. You know, the old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah. So with Kevin and I, our face, this is the face of our business. So this is our reputation. Our word is our reputation. It is our business. So we do our best to ensure that we live up to your expectations when it comes to giving you good service. So
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
It's also why we don't tend to deal with bottom feeders. And what's a bottom feeder? It's somebody who wants us to do everything for nothing. Rosie, I assume you're referring to Russian state banks. Banks in Russia are private institutions. Some of them have stock owned by the federal government. If a foreigner comes here as a tourist and they do get an account opened, it will be with their U.S. address, their social security number. Some of the banks will take a U.S. cell phone number, some will not. Sberbank will not under any circumstances. I've been told Alpha Bank will. I don't have personal experience with that.
They didn't accept mine.
Yeah. So when I came here and got my first bank account back, it's about 14, 15 years ago at Alpha Bank, they had my U.S. address, my social security number, and but you could walk on the street, you could buy a Russian SIM card, so I did that. When you are in Russia dealing with a Russian bank account, they will have the address that you were registered at in Russia, even if they have your U.S. address. Now you have to have the snills to get the bank account as well, because it's taxable in both countries if you have income. So when there's transactions in question, they will call you in Russia to clarify. And you do not get to confirm things by SMS or confirm by email. You have to either go into the bank or call and physically talk to somebody. If they want to audit something, they will show up at the address you are at in Russia. I know a guy who has his Sberbank account, and he got an SMS. He has a Russian number, and roaming on it. So when he's in the United States, he gets an SMS. He had his account questioned not too long ago because he sent a payment to his translator for doing some business translations for him. And the bank blocked the payment, blocked his account. He got an SMS and he had to call them. And he called them. He had to prove who he was. They asked him if he knew this person, so on and so on. It turns out that it was an innocent translator and Russian teacher that he's dealt with a lot, sent transactions to before, but she ended up in the infamous database. So he sent a transaction to her. He was out of the country when he sent it, and they questioned it.
Yeah.
Igor, if there's a question about a transaction on your account, they will block your account. You cannot deal with it in the Spur app. They will block your Spur Bank app. You will not be able to log into it, period. So
That's what happened to
please,
me when I got blocked.
yeah,
There was a message on the app that said, have to go to the bank, speak, and here's your call, like a case number.
yeah. I I get it. I can usually call them because they know me because I do a lot of business with them. Igor, we appreciate you. We like your videos and stuff, but please make sure that you're giving valid information to people. So I know you're saying what you know based on your info, but the information you're saying is incorrect. You cannot verify in the bank app if your account is blocked for a fraudulent transaction or a questionable transaction.
Sergey's asked,
George,
go ahead.
how much of a problem will I have in transferring sizable amounts of US dollars to my existing Spur Bank account? You will not have any trouble if you use somebody who does it legally. If you want to go through me, I do it legally. I'm licensed. I know not only the bank guys, the bank security guys, the investigators from the central bank and the feds. You know, this is how you know I do it legally. So transferring large amounts isn't a problem as long as you're dealing with somebody who knows what they're doing.
And Rosie, I don't know if you're referring to this, but of course, I still have U.S. bank accounts, and routinely, I will receive an SMS message saying that my card has been blocked for possible fraud. Verify if I made this purchase or this transfer, V for verify, and for not verified, and they'll block my account or they'll leave it open. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but I haven't seen that, and I don't know if that would happen here in Russia. To tell you the truth, I really don't know.
I and I think Eddie and I are both kind of guessing on this question, Rosie. I have done. For me, they weren't large transactions. I did a transaction not too long ago to somebody I know, and it was for like 160,000 rubles, and the bank refused the transaction. I got an SMS, and I had to go into the app and check who I was sending the money to. I then had to call the bank and verify that it was an acceptable transaction and that I meant to do it. And then they said, give us a couple of minutes, and then they allowed me to send it.
Yeah, Rosie, with regard to your question, so my cell phone here in Russia has dual SIMs, and I have a SIM from a U.S. Based carrier and my Russian SIM in the same phone, and they're both active. I do my plan with T-Mobile in the States has international roaming, and I do get SMS for free. So it doesn't cost me anything to receive messages over text from the States. So, but yeah, I've got it in the phone as well.
Yeah, my daughter uses Google Fi for the same reason. She can get text messages in Russia. She actually gets free calling in Russia as well. So, check with your cell phone provider, and it may be that you want to change companies or whatever if you think it's too expensive, but it's the thing to do. If you're coming to Crimea, none of them will work here. Sergey, we had a Raiffeisen account, but they not too long ago, I guess it was last summer, my wife and I had to go to the mainland because Raiffeisen blocked our accounts. And they blocked them because we were U.S. citizens living in Russia, and Raiffeisen does not allow transfers directly to them from the West anymore. And right now they have sold Raiffeisen out. They're held by a holding company at this point, and but nothing I can say other than that. They're a bank. They work.
Yeah, this is important. Before you do come here, ensure that, where is it? I'll get to Rosie in just a minute. Make sure that international roaming works in Russia with your cell provider before you come. Because,
Yes.
of course, you may not have a Russian SIM card for your visit, depending on how soon you can get it. And Rosie, yes, if you do have a U.S. SIM card in your phone and have service that covers in Russia, you will get SMS flags from transactions that occur in your bank account back in the States. Because I get them all the time. Not all the time, but I get them frequently.
So, Sergey, you may want to check on this because Raiffeisen announced, I don't know, it was a few months ago that they were discontinuing all transfers from outside of Russia.
Hey, I want to put out an SOS right now. If there is anybody in the chat or anyone who watches this later and is coming to Russia from the United States, it's time for a refill of icebreakers because I am down to my last one. This is cinnamon flavor, my favorite. If you are, hit me up in the chat. Send me a telegram. Oh, and by the way, I am one person away from having 400 in my Telegram chat. So join Telegram. But send me a message. I'll be happy to send some cash and order some of these from Amazon. And if you could bring them to me, black market, yeah, baby, Edelwolf. But, Raymond. Raymond to the rescue. Hey man, we'll talk later on, brother. But yeah, if you don't mind, I'd like some of these, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'll have to order pretty quick to get them in from Amazon then. But if you can carry the weight, I'll take two. What were there? 2 boxes of 8. So it'd be 16 of these. Should last me about, I don't know, 6 months maybe.
Yeah. When did you
Something
get those?
like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You have to get those. I don't know. It surprises me because you can buy just about anything in Russia through China.
I can't find these.
Well, I found them for you, but they were like $100 a box.
It's $100. for
Yeah.
one of these. Yeah, it's like seriously. So, and when I go to other countries that are not sanctioned, I always look for these. Can't find them. This is truly an American original. So,
Well, so get this. My thing is fried Cheetos. You cannot buy fried Cheetos in Russia. They're
they're
all
all
baked.
puffs.
Yeah. Drives me nuts. I found them the other day on Amazon.com, but 3 bags, and these are not 3 American sized bags. These are like, they're called the big bags, but 150 grams, 3 bags, 29 US dollars.
Hey Raymond, I'll throw if you've got the room, man. I'll throw in so you could bring a few bags of authentic Cheetos for Kevin, and then I'll mail them out there to him.
Yeah, Georgia's at $30. You're right. I don't need them. What I need if I have them is real Tums, which you also cannot get in Russia.
Real Tums.
The stuff that they sell in Russia, the Russian ones, are absolutely awful and don't work great.
Yeah, thanks Raymond, but I'll be in touch, man, soon. But yeah, if you have problems with a SIM card, you can just buy a new phone here. That's what I did. I bought this phone, which is an Honor, which is made by Huawei, which is still sanctioned in the U.S. I paid $300 for it. Dual SIM card, great camera. Video camera sucks, but I mean it's an
Yeah, but,
Android phone, but
but
it's all
let's
right.
clarify. He'll end up with a new phone with no SIM card in it.
It still has no SIM card. You still need a SIM card, but you
Yeah,
can still put your American SIM card in it too if it'll
yeah,
work. But
yeah.
yeah,
Can you bring seasoning in packets? Debatable. Depends on if you get caught by customs or not. If they're factory sealed packages, you should be able to, but the question is why? Nothing you can buy in the United States seasoning wise, you can't buy here.
oh yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My barbecue seasoning. I did
Oh,
buy
wow.
bring a couple of
Okay.
bottles of, but they're sealed. And I didn't bring 10 bottles. I brought two and different kinds. So it's personal use, personal consumption. So
Yeah, I stand corrected. You will not find your favorite steak seasoning. You will not find your favorite barbecue
there
seasoning,
you
but
go.
all the stuff that's in them you can buy here
You can buy them here. Yeah,
and mix it yourself.
true.
If you're not
All right.
lazy like Eddie and I.
What, to mix them? Yeah, nah.
Yeah. And actually, I found a place in Sevastopol. It's the barbecue place where I bought my Canadian smoker from. That sells most Western brands of seasonings, including Lowry's.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I would like to buy me a Blackstone grill. Those in America, you know what a Blackstone is. Those flat grills. Um, I can't find one here in Russia, so
Really?
I haven't found one. I've looked on, but I want a Blackstone brand. I want the actual brand, and I haven't been able to find it here. Maybe next time I go to the States, I'll have to have the weight allocated so I can bring it. Firefly
Yeah.
Robert, watching from the United Kingdom, or should I say England? Thanks for watching, man.
You can buy the Blackstone grill on AliExpress.ru, Eddie.
Dude, send me the link. Don't tease me like that, man.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right now.
Don't tease me. Send it.
Blackstone Adventure Ready 22.
Oof. Sounds good. Making my own taco seasoning. Yep. You can buy them here and source it yourself.
Up, already sold out. Well, now you know where to look anyway.
All right. They'll make more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't find it on AliExpress, you're absolutely right. Yeah, if you can't find it there, you got problems.
See, Christopher makes his own.
Yeah.
We're actually making Italian sausages, and we're having to adjust the spice seasoning as well. You will not find decent Parmesan cheese here, usually. You won't find provolone cheese. A lot of cheeses you won't find because it's illegal to import European cheeses to Russia. You can find them in some places through back doors, but they do have lookalikes that are acceptable.
Hey, George's good is a relative word. So there's some that are rather delicious, but not quite authentic, as we would. Not an authentic taste like the states, but it's still very good.
And Edelwolf, Parmesan, you can get decent Parmesan here. Most Russians aren't into real spicy things or real salty things. So is what you'll find is you'll find a lot of young Parmesan, which I personally don't like. It's hard to find a good hard salty aged Parmesan, though they do have specialty cheese shops. We've got a couple of them here, so I can get that for you. Provolone I have not found in all of Russia.
I haven't seen that either.
Oh,
And
sorry.
where is she? Or where Cather E? I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
Edelwolf. Yeah, the problem with sausage in Russia is, again, it's the spicy thing, you know. Um, Russian sausages taste like Russian sausages. I think Eddie will attest the same thing for chorizo. You get,
Everything that says I don't care what it is. It says ostry, which means hot, like spicy, isn't. It's sweet. I taste it. It's sweet.
yeah, I found one chorizo uh, in a Napa that I bought, and it was the typical Russian sausages with
Paprika,
jalapeno.
maybe
Yeah,
sprinkles on it.
jalapenos. It was just hot. It wasn't chorizo.
Yeah, yeah. William, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Very much appreciated.
Ribeye steaks. You know, leave your beef tastes behind, man. I heard just the other day that Russia exports beef to China, and I'd like to find a decent steak in Russia.
Oh, I've found decent steaks. I haven't found decent hamburger meat, or well, I have. There's good burgers, but yeah. Uh, but steaks are decent, or at least the ones that I've found here.
Okay, well, I'm coming to Moscow to have steak with you then, bro.
There you go. We'll make it. You're a Texan, Grossi. Yeah, it wasn't hot. Ostry is not hot here. It is sweet.
Okay,
Hey, Etta
gee.
Wolf, I've got to ask, what is alpha gal syndrome?
Hey, we've gone way over. Eddie, if you want to continue on, you go ahead, but I got my boss pinging me since we're an
Well,
hour and a
no.
half into this.
I'm going to have to go as well. So if you want me, I can close it out if you need to run.
Yep, go for it.
All right,
Everybody,
guys.
thanks for coming.
Thanks, Kevin. Alpha galliculos caused by a tick bite. Wow, I'd never heard of that. Interesting. Interesting, Etta Wolf. Well, guys, we have been on for an hour and right at an hour and 20 minutes. And we hope you've enjoyed this information that Kevin and I have shared with you. Please share this video with your friends. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Appreciate it. If you're not on my Telegram channel, which, let me put up a banner. I'm one away. Where are the freaking banners? I'm on Kevin's channel, not mine, so I don't know where my stuff is. I don't think it's here. All right. Well,
You were on. If you go over to banners
I'm looking.
and you click where it says American in Crimea interviews,
Yeah?
Sounding Off podcast.
Where the heck are we? I'm looking. I thought you were
Banners?
going to work.
I am. Click on banners,
I
and then
am.
you see on the top it says American in Crimea interviews.
American in Crimea interviews. Yeah, I got it. I'm in there.
Click on that. That'll take you into the folder directory.
I'm looking.
Where it says American in Crimea interviews, it's a drop down.
I can't find it, but don't worry about it. My Telegram channel is at Moscow Photog. That's that easy. So subscribe to me there and put me over 400. That one. Where did you find it? I was looking for it. I couldn't even find it.
Got to teach you about folders.
I was looking in the folder. I couldn't find it. Anyway.
No, you were in my folder, not your folder. I was organizing stuff.
I was an idiot. All right. All right, I got you there, man. I think this is a gain function thing. All right, guys. We are going to sign off. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we shall see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, 7 p.m. on the Moscow Photographer channel. I'll have the first monthly live stream on that channel just for our members. And I'm having a membership drive, sponsorship drive, but tomorrow it's open for everyone. Come on over. We'll have a great conversation. The topics are anything to do with Russia and/or photography. So, culture, architecture, cuisine, you name it. Photography. You want to talk about cameras? Let's talk about cameras. We'll see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. on the Moscow Photographer channel. Till then, thank you all. Пока.
С чего начинается Родина? С окошек, горящих вдали, со старой отцовской буденовки, что где-то в шкафу мы нашли. А может, она начинается со стука вагонных колес, из клятвы, которую в юности ты ей в своем сердце принес. С чего начинается Родина?